Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am Kris. So, this is a video called The Complete Story of Abraham, the Father of Nations. I apologize, Saeed, if this was not the type of video that you wanted. You wanted something educational. I picked this because of Abraham and his son, the ones who built the Kaaba, according to Dr. Yasser. Dr. Yasser. Hey. Sorry, he's a puppy. I know Dr. Yasser says Kaaba, and I love saying it that way now. I can't get out of my head. But I thought because of that, I would do this. It was a bit of a different video. So if you don't like it, let me know. I'll do something else. If not, then this video was sponsored by Saeed. You want to sponsor a video as well, you can donate to the channel through the thanks button. You just donate, request a video. There you go. Your name gets sponsoring on that video. If you don't want to do that, you can still request videos. It just takes a little bit longer to get to. And bare minimum, if you could subscribe to the channel, or if that's too much, click that little thumbs up button. If that's too much, I don't know what to tell you. That's the bare minimum outside of watching the entire video. Stay to the end, because this is a two-parter. So the end of this video and the end of the next video, I will be doing nude volleyball right here. That's not true. So we're going to go ahead and get into the video. And I have some sugar cookies, so it's just going to happen. They're going to be chewed on. So let's get into the video.
As the last brick of the tall tower was being crushed for dust, and Noah was beginning to die, a boy was being born in the southern corner of Mesopotamia. It's been nearly 250 years since the fall of the Great Tower in Babylon, and people have developed new ways of talking. Dark ways. Bitter ways. Where they hear without understanding and speak without moving their mouths. Their new communities have been so impacted by this one event that they have altogether abandoned the God that created them in His image and have traded Him for gods that they have created in their image. They now worship small pieces of stone and wood that have ears but do not hear, and mouths but cannot speak. The people of the world now seek oracles from walking staves, and counsel from the dead. After all, it's easier to worship that which you make, since if the gods are crafted by your own hands, then within you resides the power to choose right from wrong, doesn't it? The scattered people of the world, all choosing for themselves.
That's pretty good. Sorry, it's a good sugar cookie. I made it. That's pretty good. If you make the gods, you make the rules, right?
What is right? What is the path to life? But 140 miles southwest of the fallen ruins, in an uninteresting part of the world, a common man, Terah, is having his first child, Abram, meaning exalted father. And it is because of this child that by the end of our tale, everything, including the very namesake of Abram himself, will be changed. Many years pass after Abram's birth as the beginning of our tale unfolds, and Abram's father Terah makes a daring move in the early years of human civilization, as he attempts to move his family from the town of Ur in the land of the Chaldeans to Canaan. But he ends up stopping and pitching his tent in Haran. But while in Haran, Abram is called to fulfill all that which his father was unable. The Lord said to Abram, "Go from your land, go from your relatives, go from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse anyone who treats you with contempt, and all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Now, as odd as it may sound, ancient Hebrew readers and writers always understood that Abram and his family were pagan polytheists, meaning they worshipped many gods.
Sorry, I'm pausing that to read it. Abram is the father. Yeah, okay, yeah. Wait a minute. His father was an idol manufacturer. Ooh. Okay. Abram was the shorthand for Abraham. Okay. And his father was Terah. I apologize if I'm getting the names, saying them wrong. Okay, let me read this. I apologize. 12 great images and others less than they without number. What? Behold, these are they which made all thou seest, and which made me and thee and all mankind. Okay, so the the wood and stone images, he's telling his son, these are what made earth and what created all of mankind.
Because of that, however, as the curse of Cain is undone in the man of Abram here, we see that this story will powerfully put on display one incredible attribute of God's character time and time again, namely, his mercy, withholding the punishment that humanity deserves. And it is through this very mercy that we will see the power of God unleashed to humanity. But here, it is God's mercy that presents Abram with a choice: to exalt the God that has just revealed himself to Abram, or to weigh his commands against the promise of other gods. You see, Abram is met with two paths: a tree of life, or a tree of choosing right from wrong for himself. And so, Abram went, as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all the possessions they had accumulated and the people that they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. When they came to the land of Canaan, Abram passed through the land to the site of Shechem, at the oak of Moreh. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." And so, Abram built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there, he moved on to the hill country east of Bethel and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. He built an altar to the Lord there too, and he called on the name of the Lord. And then, Abram journeyed by stages to the Negev. As Abram and his company travel around the land of which God had called them, they realize that the chaos of the uncreated order has taken over. There's a famine, a severe famine. Abram's journey from here on begins to be peppered with doubt and anxiety. Has he actually given up everything he had known to follow a God he had not known? Abram thinks he understands the right thing to do. But in our tale of twists and turns, that seldom will be the case. Abram commands his company to flee the land that God had called them to the land of Egypt. As Abram and his wife Sarai approach the land that they're fleeing to, Abram says to his wife, "Look, I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me, but let you live. Please, say you're my sister, so it will go well for me because of you, and my life will be spared on your account." Though to Abram this may seem like the right thing to do, Abram's distrust in the God that has protected them is painfully apparent. And when Pharaoh sees...
I didn't even think of that. But to be fair, I wouldn't have thought about protection from... Well, you know what? I take that back. If I'm hearing the voice of God, I got to believe in this situation, I'm going to ask, "Hey, bud, quick question. You know my wife. She's not bad looking. I don't want to die. So I was thinking about having her pretend to be my sister, but I'll do what you tell me to do, because up until last week, I was just enjoying life. And then you came into my head. So you tell me what I should do. And if nothing happened, then I would probably do what he did." I'd be like, "Okay, maybe I should do a little bit of fibbing or lying to survive." Understandable.
Sarai, he is overcome. The Egyptians see her beauty and they seize her, and since Pharaoh thinks Abram is her brother and would more than like to win his favor, he treats Abram like a king. But God is none too pleased. Not only has Pharaoh acted unjustly in his desire to take whomever he pleases like Lamech, but God is determined to see justice brought forth for his people. He strikes the land of Egypt with a series of severe plagues. And when Pharaoh finds out the truth about Sarai, he becomes terrified of the powerful God that has come up against him. He sends Abram and Sarai away with a multitude of possessions. But now, Abram and his family have another problem. They've become so wealthy that they can't all fit in the land. So him and his nephew Lot, they decide that they must separate from each other. Lot takes the plains as far as Zoar in the east, near the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abram, he pitches his tents near the oaks of Mamre in Hebron in the west. And now, all would be well, if it weren't for the depravity of human sin and the corruption of power.
Suddenly, a war of mighty kings is stirred upon the face of the earth, like a raging tempest on a mountainside. The key player? Kedorlaomer, king of Elam. He's on a rampage to take over the whole of the land that God had given to the family of Abram. He has recruited, by force or by diplomacy, 3 kings to aid in his mighty conquest. Amraphel, king of Shinar. Arioch, king of Elisar, Tidal, king of Choim. But the Siddim Valley is not so easily conquered. Spurred by the threat of war, the 4 kings are met with 5. Bera, king of Sodom, Birsha, king of Gomorrah, Shaina, king of Admah, Shember, king of Zeboim, and the unnamed king of Bela. The armies advance in the valley of Siddim, but the 5 kings just can't seem to hold off the evil 4 for long. The 4 kings advance into the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and that's when it becomes personal. The 4 warring kings bind and capture Abram's nephew Lot. And when Abram hears of this, armed with 318 trained men, the mighty men of Abram's household strike down the 4 warring kings. They pursue them as far as Damascus. Abram nearly single-handedly rescues Lot. His heroic bravery and courage attract the attention of many officials from the area. You see, it is in the Sheva Valley, where Abram is met by 2 kings. The first king, Melchizedek. As it was written of him somewhere else, by translation of his name, it means king of righteousness, and also the king of Salem, that is to say, the king of peace. He was without father or mother or genealogy. He had neither beginning of days nor end of life, but he resembled the Son of God, and he continues as a priest forever. He is all that Adam was created to be and could not be. And another king meets Abram in the valley, Bera, meaning the son of evil. He is the king of the wicked city of Sodom, and the 2 kings meet the hero where he stands. Melchizedek brings gifts of bread and wine, and he blesses Abram with a blessing straight from the heart of God. By all accounts, a mere offering of bread and wine would seem weak, but in comparison to the son of evil, king of Sodom, that offering is absolutely nothing. The king of Sodom offers Abram nearly everything he possesses, and Abram refuses. He says that he has sworn an oath to his God, Yahweh, God Most High, the God that has strengthened and protected him. Abram says that he promised that God that he would not take anything from the king of Sodom, lest the son of evil claim he made Abram rich and require a return blessing. Out of sheer gratitude, Abram humbly gives 1/10 of everything he owns to the house of Melchizedek, priest king of righteousness and peace. Abram believes that the God of Melchizedek is the true, only, sovereign God, king of creation. And his faith in this God is beginning to be a shining light to the nations as the kings meet him in the Sheva Valley. And so, it is no coincidence that after this encounter, God appears to Abram shortly thereafter. God makes a promise to Abram right then and there. He says that Abram will have a son, even though he is old in age. He promises that this son will give way to offspring more numerous than the very stars. And God promises Abram that the land that he stands on, the land of Canaan, will be given to him and his descendants.
That's a beautiful valley. Wow. If that's not real, then I'm a fool, but that's beautiful. Wow. There's some nice places on this planet. Sorry, I'm just admiring. Like, just that's so cool. Oh, so cool.
As a possession. Abram believes God. He believes that he is the one true God of creation, and everything that Abram has, will have, or has ever had was given to him by this one and only God of creation. And so, even though Abram has failed time and time again up until this point, his belief is counted to him as righteousness. And Abram is immediately put into proper relationship with the God of the universe. But this vision that Abram has is not over. It lasts until Abram is put into a deep sleep. And in his sleep, a dark shadow overcomes the man of God. God makes a peculiar claim to Abram in this dream. He says that his kindred will be foreigners in a land for 400 years before God brings judgment upon the nation that will enslave them. Well, a long time passes after this vision, you see. And Abram and Sarai are now nearly 100 years old, and they still have no children. How will their offspring be more numerable than the stars? How will they take over the land that God had promised them? How will there be a man to come from the seed of the woman and crush the head of the snake that is going to enslave them? Well, Sarai begins to scheme, and her schemes lead her to an idea that seemed right in her own eyes. That although she cannot serve Abram by becoming pregnant, her servant Hagar can. And so, Abram conceives with his servant Hagar, and she bears a child that they name Ishmael. God appears to Abram shortly after this. He appears to Abram and he commands, "I am God Almighty. Live in my presence and be blameless. I will set up my covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you greatly." And Abram falls on his face in reverence. And as God metaphorically picks up his head, he renames him to Abraham, the father of many nations. You see, in the chaos of creation, God creates order when he speaks it into existence and begins to order the created realm by ordaining names to all that he creates. And so when God changes Abram's name to Abraham, not only does he remind him of the promise that will come to pass, but he also firmly establishes his relationship to Abraham, that he has ordered Abraham's life and the events therein, and will continue to do that until and even beyond Abraham's death. From here on, the sign of circumcision will represent how Abraham and his kin are grafted into the household of faith. It represents cutting away the sin and the failure of human depravity. His promise is reassured in the heart and the mind of Abraham that in spite of his own failings, in spite that Abraham and his family choose deliberately time and time again to do what is right in their own eyes, God will bring forth from Abraham a mighty king.
I went much longer than I thought I would. We're going to go back 5 seconds. We're going to take it back to the 18-minute mark. Okay, so the next video is just going to be 15 minutes. A little over 15. I apologize, but I just got carried away. What can I say? Oh, well. This is good so far. Ow. It's good so far. I like it. Okay, so we're going to split this. We're going to come back for part 2. Hope you enjoy the video so far. Until next time, which is part 2. Have a good day. Have a good night.